All right, welcome to another episode of Old Gold. Here we are today with my fearless leader, Jeremy Gray, who most of you already know, and we have Richard Crew from Pilar Gold. So today, as you can tell by the hats, we are going to be talking a bit about Pilar. Jeremy and Richard are going to have some banter about Pilar, which is one of our big projects, multi-million ounce gold mine that we have in Brazil. And it's a very exciting project. So here we go. What do you say, boys? Jeremy, let me know what you've got to say about Pilar.
Well, yeah, Eric, Pilar is a world-class mine. It's not a project, it's a mine. It's three mines. It's a world-class open pit project. It's 4,500 ton a day mill built by Yamana Gold. It's $1 billion of replacement capital. And it's been Richard's and mine project, I guess that's a project, for the last 5 years, since April 2021. And it's been one hell of a roller coaster for us, but we're going to come back, and I think it might just be the greatest comeback in recent gold mining history. And I just want to introduce to Richard. Richard's and I have been together for 8 years. We're a bit like an old married couple, actually. But he stuck with me through thick and thin. And if it wasn't for Richard, I don't think we'd be here today. And he's one of the reasons we're looking in such a tremendous future for Pilar Gold, and also a tremendous future for Chancery royalty, because Chancery is, as you know, has got an 8% royalty for 8 years on Pilar, and that's an extremely valuable royalty for Chancery. But Pilar's also got a 34% holding in the fastest growing royalty company in the industry that could be worth hundreds of millions quite soon. Richard, welcome, mate.
Thank you, Jeremy, and thank you very much, Eric. Pilar's great project, great project. We've had our problems, and I think everybody's aware of that. And we are moving forward in large strides now. We've got a new managerial team in place, and it's all on financing now. As soon as we get the financing in place, then we're ready to go. We've been focusing on judicial, operational, organizational progress. So PGTM's made significant progress during 2025-26, particularly in advancing its judicial recovery process, preparing to a structured return for full production.
Maybe, Eric, I can give everyone a bit of a background. So we bought this beautiful mine in April 21, as I said, and within 5 months we were shut down by the government. We were embargoed. It's one of those words that I don't wish upon my worst enemy, because it basically, that we were told, guys, you have to replace 14.6 kilometers of pipeline, and this is water and tailings pipeline that rolls over hills and valleys, and steel pipes, weren't they, Richard? Just big, thick steel pipes. And I remember, mate, do you remember when our lawyer said, guys, I think you're going to be shut for the next 6 to 9 months? And we had 1,100 staff. We just bought this mine. It was our only mine. It was before we started to grow the business, because obviously since then we bought Laiva gold in Finland. We bought Tucano gold in northern Brazil, which is about to produce its first gold in a couple of days. We bought Arizona Gold Road, but this was when we were just us. It was just Pilar. And it's that is probably the toughest time of my life, the toughest time of Richard's life. But his great leadership, the leadership of Israel Oliveira, we got through it. We replaced the pipeline. The government let us go back again after 3 months of just waiting and hard work. Cost us millions. But that was when gold was 1,600, right? So there wasn't a lot of wriggle room. There wasn't like we weren't making a lot of money. And then in March of 24, we basically just had run out of working capital. Our Sandvik fleet was pretty much buggered, wasn't it, Rich? And we just couldn't keep the operation going. So unexpectedly, we closed. Again, there was the next journey that became a terrible time for us. But as Richard said, we went through JR and we came out the other side with a restructured balance sheet and big stakes in Chancery royalty, big stakes in Laiva gold, and guess what? A gold price that's gone up nearly 3 times. So it's a great example of never to give up, and this Richard Crew never gives up.
And we've all had our problems, Jeremy, right the way through. Not on this project. Every project has its problems. But I think what you may have neglected to say, Jeremy, and that's that this pipeline actually broke or was worn out, and it was during the period of COVID. So you can imagine what the supply was like. It was an absolute nightmare to obtain 14.4 kilometers of steel pipeline. And contractors, because contractors weren't allowed to get in contact with other people, and it was a case of daily and weekly a case of COVID occurring, and each piece of steel pipe, 12-inch steel pipe, had to be welded every 6 meters. So if you look at 14.4 kilometers, that's a hell of a lot of quadruple welded joints. But it was completed in record time. I've got to say, it was Israel Oliveira and his team there. They've done a fantastic job. There's no getting away from it.
Amazing job. But now, I mean, we could go back and talk all the trials and tribulations, Eric, of what we went through. I mean, wow. I mean, it pretty much bankrupted us, and there was a point where it was actually nearly dragging the whole group down, right? We'd had Tucano on. We just bought Tucanos on care and maintenance. It was costing us $500,000 a month for care and maintenance. I was 2 months behind salaries. Richard and I would go up to Amapá in northern Brazil and would tell the guys, don't worry, we're going to get you paid. We had Laiva in Finland. We couldn't get funding for Laiva in Finland. And boy, that the summer of 24, June, July of 24, brutal. And then, mate, oh, shocking. But we stuck with it and we restructured. And then, of course, China came along, and they took the gold market up. They started buying, and the price was 2,300, ripped it up to 34, 3,500. And of course, we got up to where we are recently at 55.
The rest is history, right? Yeah, exactly.
Well, every day I walk past a Chinese person, I go and give them a big hug. And then
Well, you're a brave man, Jeremy. You're a brave man. I've just come back. I've just come back from China, so I went over to see a couple of the two new LHT 307 LHTs and the fabrication there, and what a place! Everyone sort of just listens to the media, and I'm going to tell you now, the media don't know what they're talking about. This place is fantastic.
They usually don't.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
People believe the media, and because it's it's too far for them to travel to go and see things. But I recommend anybody to go to China. What a fantastic place! So clean, so advanced. We all think that the UK, the USA, and any other country is very advanced, but believe me, China is far more advanced. Just about every vehicle is electric, whether it be a minibus or and you've even got these vehicles now that don't have a driver. So that's a little bit worrying for me. But
Me too.
I went in one and I was dead scared. I've got to say, I was literally pooping in my pants, and I was looking for the brake pedal all the time. But
Rich,
no, it's
I
fantastic.
think I'd be the same.
Fantastic.
Tell
place.
Eric why you went there, mate, because we're in a big, massive rebuild fleet modernization program at Pilar, because we love Sandvik, but we need to be realistic. We need to source other world-class equipment from other suppliers, and
More cost effective.
we've just placed an order for 5 beautiful Resaman fan drills and jumbos from Peru. But Richard, you tell the guys what you're doing in China.
Sure, I went over to the JCHX factory. I'm going to tell obviously before you buy any machine, you need to check the quality, and obviously JCHX are the largest mining contractor in China. And they have a different philosophy to many other suppliers. They say downtime costs money. So JCXS now they're actually fabricating. I can't give names here, but they're actually fabricating for a lot of the major companies. People say, let's go to Sandvik, let's go to Caterpillar, let's go to Atlas Copco. But why? When you have machines of the same standard or even better, then you go for them. They're a much better price. And the quality is fantastic, out of this world.
Yeah, you were treated like royalty over there, weren't you, Rich?
I was indeed, Jeremy. I was indeed. I actually thought I was the king. The hotel they put me in was fantastic. And they took me everywhere. They took me to the Great Wall of China and some other places. A lake, which is you couldn't see the other side of it. It was that big, and it was completely frozen. So it was absolutely fantastic. Kevin and Grace and Sean, they really looked after me extremely well. I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. And, the quality is amazing, the price is amazing, and the delivery time. I mean, it's what Sandvik were quoting 9 months, and it's 3 months for ours, yeah?
Exactly. It should be ready for shipping sort of third week of May. So that is moving fast, and they where JCHX have learnt. Previously they used their own Chinese materials, but now they're importing. You've got Volvo engines, Parker hydraulic hoses. It goes right the way through. And most of the stuff is imported. But assembled there. So, you can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong. What a fantastic place. What a fantastic team. And I've got to be thankful to Jeremy and the team for sending me over there. It was a real eye-opening experience. I had a look at crushers, drill rigs with Sean. And there are some, let's be honest, China is not what China was 10 years ago. China has advanced so much. Even with the gold. Exactly. It's frightening to see how one country that's so quiet has advanced so much.
Well, talking of advanced countries, Eric, you're in probably one of the most advanced, Korea. What are you doing there?
This is true. I am right now in Seoul, Korea. I came here. I was heading up, as you know, the investor trip to bring some investors to come and see Pure Tungsten, to see the mine, to meet Tiger Kim, which is obviously the CEO of Pure Tungsten. We went and saw the mine in Sangjeon. We went and saw the processing plant, and we were also treated like royalty. One of the things that I'm a foodie, so one of the most exciting things for me was to just be able to come here and eat. I've loved Korean food for a long time, and we ate so well while we were here, and it's just been fantastic. The hotel which is where I'm at right now, is really nice, and Seoul itself, and this area of Korea is beautiful. The landscape is something I really didn't expect. I didn't think about. I was just here for the investor trip. I was kind of preoccupied with making sure everybody was taken care of, and going to see the mine. I was excited about that. I was excited about the food, but the natural beauty of Korea is actually quite stunning. I'm really impressed with it. I lived in Japan for a few years, and of course the natural beauty there everybody knows about, and but Korea is great. I would absolutely love to come here and spend some more time. It's been a great trip. We were treated like royalty, like Richard said about China. So I can't complain. I knew Tiger from before. We were in Tajikistan together. He is a man on a mission. So he's a great guy to talk to, and he is just a wealth of information about tungsten in general, about the industry, but especially about this project, Pure Tungsten. So it was great. Everybody who was on this trip walked away quite amazed with everything that we saw, and with Tiger.
I got to say, like the just changing subject for 1 minute from gold to tungsten, but that has. I was saying to someone the other day, I reckon that might just be the greatest bull market of any commodity ever. And I know that's a big statement, and I know people go, "Oh, when you say that, that must be the top." Blah blah blah. How many commodities do you know, like Rich, how many commodities do you know that have gone up 10 times in 18 months? I'm not talking
I don't think
18
there are. I don't
years.
think there are anything apart from tungsten, Jeremy. I think that's it.
Nothing. Nothing.
I
I
follow the
can't think
markets
of it. I
quite
know.
heavily.
Well, let's think about it. Iron ore from the when China was waking up in the early 2000s went from 20 to 200, but that took like 15, 20 years. Gold's gone from 250 to 5,000. That's a 20x, but that took 30 years, did it? 25 years? So I'm just talking more like just in that period. And there's this interest in that. So many people, commentators think, oh, tungsten is not going to last. It's like lithium. It's going to be a bubble. It couldn't be further from the truth. I think it could keep going. I mean, it's $320,000 a ton. Did you know that?
I did. I saw it last night, actually. And I'm keeping an eye on it because I'm a shareholder, so I've got to keep my eyes open. But yeah, all right, gold's. I mean, you go back to gold now. Gold's taken a little drop off, but if a mining company can't make money at the price it is now, then close the company because
Might as well give up.
it's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
exactly.
People are. I mean, I'm in a gold mining town here, and people are complaining about the small drops in the gold price. And they are small drops. They're drops in the ocean, but it's all geopolitical.
It it's very it's short
It is
term,
short term,
very short
very
term.
short
Any
term.
any retest of support, we're on a multi-year bull market here with commodities. And so when we talk about, especially with the precious metals, we've got a long way up to go. So these little tests of support are just normal market machinations. This is the way markets work. This is the way, especially with as metals like the precious metals like gold and silver. There's a lot of people trading this. There's a lot of volatility. That's just the way it works. Ultimately, we are in a multi-year
Yeah.
bull
We are
market,
indeed.
and there's a
I
long
couldn't
ways to
take it
You
away
go.
from
know,
us.
Eric,
That's
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. Also, going back to Pilar for a minute, but if we're right that gold will go to 7,000, okay, we think by Christmas, even if it's a few months later. And just going back to Richard for a minute, Pilar has drilled out 4 million ounces, and we modelled that at 1,600 gold, didn't we, Rich?
we
And
did indeed, Jeremy. Yeah.
I tell you, that Pilar ore body, I swear to God, it dips at 20 degrees and it keeps going until it pops its head out somewhere in Ballarat, Australia. Like it literally goes forever. Don't you think, Rich?
Yeah, I do. Even if we look at Tres Buracos, I mean that's open at depth and strike as well. So the reserves we got there now, they're going to increase significantly. So it's all adding value to the company.
So if you think this current raise that we're doing at 30 cents a share values it at 148 Canadian, but then you strip out the value of the Chancery stake, which is about 60 Canadian. You then strip out the Laiva stake, which is say 15 Canadian. What are we now? I think there's only 70 million of equity value that you can buy a 4 million ounce business that will cost you $1 billion, and that's Canadian, cost you $1 billion to build it today. So that's why we wanted to just bring this on the show tonight. I wanted to introduce you to Richard, who's been through thick and thin, and I think Pilar Gold's going to be $1 billion company. I hand on heart, I am convinced. And we got a takeover offer. Didn't we, Rich? We got a takeover offer about 4 months ago, 250 million Canadian, and I just laughed at it. I said, sorry, we're $1 billion US. That's where we're going. Because look at G Mining Ventures. What's the market cap of G Mining Ventures now, Rich? It's like 15 billion.
It's phenomenal, Jeremy. Absolutely phenomenal. I can remember going back now a little bit. I can remember going up and doing the due diligence for you on Laiva, and then again myself and Paolo doing the due diligence on Tucano. Look at those. They're just about listed. Tucano is going to be listing later on this year, and Laiva's just about there. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks. Pilar's the next in the line. Yes, we've had our problems. We really have. And the small team we've had on site during this care and maintenance period, they've done a phenomenal job. Absolutely phenomenal job. Israel, Dr. Carlos. I can't go through the list of names because it just gets too long. But as team leaders, I think they've done a fantastic job.
No, so excited about Pilar. Like it's our first daughter. I always think of them as girls. And it just had a bit of bad luck with the fella. And now, but it's definitely the prettiest of the 4 girls. We got Tucano Gold, Laiva Gold, Gold Road. Now, the thing about Gold Road, I mean, boy, you had Jim last week. Gold Road was on care and maintenance a year ago. Jim's clocking some beautiful numbers now, beautiful daily numbers, 30 ounce. He's not far away from a 40 ounce day. That doesn't sound much, 40 ounces for a miner, right? But when you only got 50 staff and the price is 4,700, makes a lot of money. That's listing in probably early June, I think. Svein Harold and Niels will list that. And our shareholders, I think, will make an 8x on that from day one. Laiva Gold's listing, I think it's actually listing next week, is it, Rich?
Well, I was speaking to someone from the inside yesterday, but they've just said certainly within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, we were doing that round, weren't we, at 50 cents? And it's probably going to come out
Exactly.
at $2.50.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
If it comes out
Tucano,
$2, $2, $3, it doesn't matter. There's a serious upside there, even for the guys that
oh,
bought in at 150.
oh, Laiva Gold,
25%
I
upside is
think
fantastic.
it's amazing. Did you see the news this week, Eric, that for Agnico Eagle bought Rupert Resources
I saw
for,
that
and
yesterday. Yeah.
yeah, two other companies, and they're like 500 miles north of us at Laiva, right up in the tundra where it's minus 50 in the winter. Very expensive to build anything. And Rupert's drilled everything down to 800 meters. Laiva's never drilled more than 200, and that resource of 2 million could easily be as big as Rupert. The only difference is we have a world-class mill and they don't. And I think Laiva could be a $1 billion market cap also very easily under John's leadership. So yeah, we did buy these mines incredibly well. Let's be honest. I mean, I remember Richard rang me from Tucano, which is Tucano Gold, which is our mine in northern Brazil. He said, "We have to buy this. We have to buy this." And then we spent a year, didn't we, Rich, bidding for it through the JR process. And it's the old
Exactly.
Great Panther mine, Eric. Do you remember Great Panther? And others might remember it as Beedle Resources.
Fidel, yeah.
We bought that for 3.7 million. When you think about that, 3.7 million. It must cost you at least $1 billion to build today, wouldn't it, Rich? At least $1 billion.
It will cost you. I would say it would cost you close on $1 billion. Yeah. They've got
Yeah.
a world class plant there. They've fully refurbished their plant now. It is up and running. It's under test at the moment. So it's what a phenomenal mine. It's going to have one hell of a life. It's
Oh,
going to be more than 10 years, Jeremy.
at
You've got the
least.
open pits, you've got the underground. You you've got some phenomenal grades, absolutely phenomenal grades there. Predominantly, it's a mid grade mine, but you've got some phenomenally high grades there as well. I
If
mean, if
there's
you
any
look at the old,
geos, yeah, Rich,
sorry,
if there's any geos who are watching this show, do you remember that hole at Tucano? FVM 351, 31 meters at 491 grams.
that was up a
And I
decade. Yeah, I
still
can
do this.
remember that. Yeah,
I think that might be the best hole drilled in the last 40 years in the industry.
probably
And
probably longer than 40
yeah,
years. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we're very blessed. I mean, Tucano starts producing actually next week. So it's not long before Pilar's producing, right? We're back in the game now, and Pilar's, wow, very low cost. We're modernizing the fleet. We're hiring staff, aren't we, Rich? We're hiring staff now.
We're hiring key staff. We're hiring at the moment. Is to keep the company in compliance. The what we're actually looking at the moment: engineers, geologists, mechanical engineers, ventilation engineers, geotechnical engineers. There's a lot more to it than that. It's not like starting immediately. It can't be done. We all know that. So we've got legal compliance to stay with, etc., etc. So let's go for it, and let's do it. Let's not run before we can walk.
Yeah. Let's also get all that fleet on site. Let's get it,
Yep.
because I used to every daily report at Pilar when we were having a tough time. It was like, oh, the fan drill's broken down, the jumbo's down, the LHD's broken. I mean, it was just moral. It was just draining all the will to live for the staff, and so we're getting a brand new fleet. We've also dewatered Pilar, because I don't know, people don't probably realize this, but our biggest mine, Pilar, when we had problems, flooded. The electricity company cut us off. And I had no idea what that really meant until we had to pump the damn thing out again. And it took,
I
what,
remember when we've got two
16 months,
mines there,
Rich?
Jeremy. Basically, we've got two mines there.
Yeah,
We've got the east and the west, and both had to be pumped down. And it was taken what 7 months, nearly 8 months to pump the water out. It's got to
yeah,
be pumped out in compliance as well, settling dams, etc., etc. So it's a long-winded process.
yeah,
And there's a lot of equipment still that was underground. So even electric cables, they've all had to be replaced, and most of them have been
yeah.
replaced now. So we're in a great position to start up.
Amazing position. So I just want to thank everyone who stuck with us, everyone who supported us. But the name of the game, as you know, Eric, is to stay in the game and Pilar's, we're here, we're still here. And so many, another very important aspect, I think, why we did survive was because we were private. If we were public, we would have just been shot in the back of the head by some lawyer, some board member with a double-barreled name saying, "Oh, lovely, lovely, but you're out." The TSX or the ASX would have just basically shut you down and bankrupted you the next day. So it's a very good lesson. Don't go public too quickly. But when you're in a rising market, when you're doing good numbers, then go public. So, we're listing Laiva next week. We're listing Gold Road, great numbers. We're listing Tucano in June. I mean, boy, oh boy, pure tungsten. Is that a $2 billion company, do you think, Eric?
It very well could be. The way that tungsten is moving, and the way that the world, kind of where we're headed. Tungsten is the war metal, and so China controls the majority of the tungsten in the world. They're probably not going to be selling it to the West because the West is going to be building weapons to go to war with China ultimately. So, you're not gonna sell your enemy bullets to shoot you. So, the West has very limited resources as far as tungsten. And the main thing to remember is that there's a lot of tungsten companies, that are currently public, but they're not going to be producing for a very long time. Pure Tungsten is actually going to be producing this June. So when you think about that, we've got the South Korea mine that's going to be producing in June. We have a massive high grade asset in Tajikistan that we're developing. So while the South Korea asset is producing, that is being developed. So once that comes online as well, I, when you say $2 billion company, I wouldn't I wouldn't doubt that. Ultimately, considering where tungsten really could go,
Yeah.
could
Well,
be.
next
Yeah.
door to you, because you were there at Sanjong, but if you go 34 miles down the road to Sandong, which is Almonte Industries,
Yep.
I think they have a market cap of
Almonte.
9
Yeah,
billion. And I'd like to
they
make a bit
do.
of a wager here, but I think our mine will actually start shipping before Almonte's Sandong, which yeah, I mean, can you imagine if we start shipping before they do, and they've got a 9 billion market cap, and that's basically 95% of their market cap is Korea, right?
We are, pure tungsten right now. What the market caps, we're at what 128
Yeah,
million. Or I mean the
it
valuation
might be
rather,
worth saying,
not the
Eric,
market cap.
because
Yeah.
you've been swamped, haven't you, with interest from investors that we're closing this coming Monday. So
Yes.
click on the. I'll
Yeah.
let you tell
They're
how to do
piling
that,
in.
but yeah,
Yeah, we'll put the links down below. We're obviously going to be now opening around for Pilar as well. So the links will be in the description for Pilar and also for Pure Tungsten. I'll put it for Chancery because we still have the Chancery round open now. I believe we've extended that until mid-May. So you can hit the link for all of those. You can take a look and see what you like. You can invest in
yeah,
any or
yeah.
all. So we're happy to talk to you.
Eric, maybe just 2 minutes on Chancery royalty because, look, we only built this company in November. We started with Laiva in Finland. We bought that from a third party. We rolled in Pilar's royalty for a huge stake in Chancery for Pilar shareholders. What else do? We rolled in the silver byproduct for Gold Road when you had Jim last week, 90% of the silver. We then bought Kefi. Wow. Wow. You went to Ethiopia? Amazing. Like, I tell you, I think that royalty is going to be extremely valuable. I'll come on to that in a minute. What else did we do? We did Buxton, and you had Lester on recently with Buxton in British Columbia. We've got hopefully a very big announcement to make in the next week or two. I've been promising this for a while. Not there yet, but very big. But I just want to show you an example. So Kefi's royalty on Tulu is 4.8%, which would give us so it does 170,000 ounces. So what's 170 times 4.8? It's about 8,000 GEOs, is it nearly? About that, yeah. So I saw an announcement only the other day from Versamet Royalty, who's a great company, let's be honest. Trades on 8 times our valuation, by the way. We're at 0.25 price NAV and they're at 2 times. They paid for 10,000 GEO equivalent, gold equivalent ounces, so 10,000 gold ounces. They paid 300 something million US cash for the royalty on SK Creek. 300. So they basically paid 10 times what we paid. 10 times. Yeah. So, yeah, we've done some really amazing deals in Chancery, and that's why I think it's going to be a billion-dollar company also. Like, it's just amazing the amount of opportunities that come in our way in Chancery, isn't it? Incredible.
It really is. It's just such an undervalued. When you talk about royalty companies today and where their valuations are, the ones that are public, and you look at what we've got and the geos that we're actually building up to into 2028, uh, it's pretty incredible what we're valued at right now. So that's why, to be fair, I mean, investors are piling in. It was the same with pure tungsten. You know, now that we're kind of closing the final round, investors are literally piling in with a lot of money trying to get into this because people are starting to realize where tungsten's going. And it's the same thing with, it's been like this with Chancery Royalty. The first round that we did um, for Chancery, that 10 million, first $10 million round, the money came in so hard and so fast, it shocked everybody. Jeremy and Max and Ed have been in this industry for a long time. I'm a bit of a newcomer, but it shocked even them how fast and hard the money came in.
I'll give Richard an example because he knows Borborema very well in Brazil. Rich, you're not going to believe this, but Gold Royalty paid 45 million for a 2% royalty on Borborema, which is producing, I'll give them that, but has a cap of 25,000 ounces.
Yeah.
45 million. So there's the numbers that are flying around. So
That's a lot of dosh.
I mean,
That's a lot of
this
dosh.
is why Pilar is so important that they have this 34% blocking stake, guys, because the minute that we list Chancery in Q3, and we've already chosen the shell, it's going to be announced in the next sort of 2 weeks, someone's going to try and buy us. And Pilar needs to stop that and say, I'm not selling it for $5
Yeah.
or $6 a share. I want $16 a share. And Pilar's got, just under 13 million shares. So can you imagine what the value that is to Pilar? So
it's a phenomenal value. And there's no getting away from that. If I can just whip back to Pilar now, most of the questions I'm getting, Jeremy, from by emails and by LinkedIn and everything, are all about the tailings. Now, as most people know, we have completed a 1.5 meter tailings dam lift just prior to shutting down. And then we received an embargo because we couldn't keep up with the compliance, etc., during the period when we didn't have any money. So what we've done now, or Israel's brought in external teams, etc. Israel Oliveira, what a guy. He's completed the following tasks. I've actually had to note them down because there are so many of them. But I think the priority: geophysics completed, geotechnical report completed, aerial survey completed, structural reports completed, stability reports completed, foreground survey completed, bathymetria completed, emergency procedures completed, and then it goes on and on and on. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of money involved, and a lot of time has been taken. Brazilian tailings dam regulations after Brumadinho are probably the toughest in the world. We are literally there now. The reports are to be submitted in the next few days to the A&M agency or the National Mining Agency. So we're there on that part. It's bureaucratic. You have to have the resources, both manpower and financial, to complete anything, not just in mining, in any other game. The same restarting the mine, etc. If you've got a pair of garden shears and you've got to cut the grass on a football pitch, it's going to take you hours. The more pairs of shears you put in, the quicker it's going to get. So, and it's exactly the same thing all the time. You need the manpower, you need the financial resources, and there's no point in literally trying to start something with insufficient finance. We've got to go forward, and we have to capture the right amount of money to start correctly.
yeah, and we got great optionality there, guys. Great optionality for the funding. Tremendous response in this 30-cent round. Laiva starts trading in the next week or two. I think that stake alone's worth at least 15 million Canadian. If Chancery, if you need more cash, Chancery can give more cash in exchange for shares. So great optionality there. So yeah, really excited. Like what a journey Pilar's been, but it's so important for me and Richard to make this a tremendous success for our shareholders and really show the amazing potential of PGDM and bring employment back to Itapasi, Pilar de Goiás. And it's a beautiful part of Brazil, right? Isn't it, Rich? It's such a beautiful part.
Oh, it is. It's lovely. We're coming towards the end of the rainy season now. Certainly, within the next couple of weeks, the rains will stop, and that's going to be a huge plus for us as well. People don't realise. They think, oh, UK's got rain. UK doesn't have rain. That's a drizzle. Believe me, that's a drizzle. You know, it's when you go outside your front door and it's like someone throwing a bucket of water over you. That's what rain is like. You're used to it out in the east as well, out in Thailand, etc. You get the tropical storms, and it's like that. We have that for sort of 3 or 4 months every year. We're coming towards the end of it now because it's only raining in the evenings, and that's how you can tell here that the rains are stopping because during the day it stops and just rains in the evenings. So next couple of weeks the rains will be stopped, and it'll give Israel and Carlos and the team a much better opportunity to advance the project even further.
No, that's great,
Excellent.
Eric. I just wanted
Excellent.
to introduce everyone to Richard, who's been just the cornerstone of the company, and yeah, we're going to have an amazing year this year, and also going in the next couple of years. And
It's such a great story. It's such a great story, especially for the two of you that have been in this for so long. You stuck it out. There were times when 99% of people would have thrown in the towel, and you
yeah,
didn't. And here we are. And the
yeah,
light
it
at the end of the
sure is.
tunnel is here. So, um, yeah, yeah.
No, thank you very much,
So
Eric,
cheers,
and
guys.
thank you, Richard.
Yeah,
I'll
good
let you do
story.
the old gold. I'll let you do the closing remarks, and also, can I just say a very special thanks to all of our 2,300 plus shareholders in our 6 companies. You guys have made all this possible. You're so important to us. So I just wanted to thank you very much. I mean, gosh, it's been amazing, particularly this last 12 months, hasn't it, Eric?
Yes, it has been genuinely amazing. I pinch myself every day being in this position and being able to work with this team. It's really the best gig I've ever had. And now I'm hosting this, and it's a lot of fun to have guests like you on, Rich. And
No, thanks very much, Eric.
just to be working for. Yeah, no, it's great. I met you in London, and we had a
I'm
really
with
good time. But it's really good to have you on
exactly.
the channel.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting for you to come over to
Um,
Brazil, but you seem to be so relaxed there in the east. Yeah, I know it's a long way for you to come, but I can tell you now the
I
food's much
may
better here. You get some decent meat
I
here.
may
You
get
don't get it
down
where you
there.
are.
I may get down there. I may get back to the States this summer to see some family, and if I do, I may kick down to South America and come and see you guys.
That's all right. Yeah, no, great. I look forward to having you here, and you will be looked after well here as well, so there's no problem.
Yeah, I always am. On all of these trips that I do for Jeremy and the team, we are always treated like royalty, and it's a lot of fun actually to do these. So
Being
it's
treated like
tiring,
royalty
but it's
doesn't.
fun.
Yeah, being treated like royalty, it doesn't cost. It doesn't cost.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah.
Everyone thinks, they're wasting all their money on corporate expenses, etc., etc. We're not.
It's not
No,
Believe
like
me,
that.
we're not.
No, it's
I
not
went
like
to
that.
China. I went to China. I don't go business class. I went cattle class. I
yep.
went in the back of the plane. Squeezed
Yeah,
up like
yeah.
the cattle in the back of a
You know,
haulage
Eric, I
truck.
say to the
It's
team, anyone who turns left on our plane, or no, not on our plane, but on any plane, is the day that the gold market rolls over, and that's the end of the bull market. So I always, for some reason, they always give me on Latam the seat right at the back next to the toilet. And I think, oh, gold's definitely going to 7,000.
if we weren't online, I'll tell
Worst
you the
seat in the
reason
house.
why. But that's
Great, Eric. Well, thank you very much, mate. And thank you, Richard. Really appreciate it.
no. Thank you very much, both
Thank
of
you
you.
guys. Thank you guys for coming on. And I just want to say to anybody who's still watching, the links will be down below. And please feel free to comment. If you have any questions for Rich or Jeremy or myself, please comment down below, or you can hit the links and you can always talk to me or some of the investor relations team that way as well. So thank you for tuning in for another episode of Old Gold. Thank you, Rich and Jeremy. And this has been a great episode. So until next week, we are signing off. So have a great week, everybody.